recording. And we're good.
All right.
Hey,
So I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ronald.
And this is Talking Squirrels,
the middle school ministry podcast. You know what? I interrupted you. I apologize, Michelle.
How dare you, Ronald?
I repent in dust and ashes.
I worked so hard on that.
I know. And you nailed it this time. It was me who messed up. Michelle, can you hear the really cool baggage claim announcements going on behind me?
A little bit, yeah. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. That's because I'm hanging out in the Las Vegas airport.
Woo!
Have you ever been to Vegas? I know. Have you ever been to Vegas?
I've never been to Vegas. Hopefully, kind of want to keep it that way, but you never know.
This is technically my second time to be to Vegas, and they're not wrong. Literally stepped off the airplane and saw the slot machines ready to go.
Amazing.
Was
this the first time when you were at your bachelor party?
It was my bachelor party. You're right. Yeah, we crushed the town. It was awesome. Got kicked out a couple times.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
When did the statue of Caesar?
Yeah, basically changed my life, and I'm surprised I'm still in ministry. That's what's going on.
Just redid the Hangover movie, basically.
Yeah, line for line. That's all we did. What's funny is I'm thinking about it now. Can you imagine the people who post stuff on social media and who do potentially lose their jobs because of what literally happens in Vegas?
Oh, I guarantee it's probably at least a small percentage of the world.
I wonder if it's a daily thing. If somebody could track somebody lost their job today because of what was posted in social media of what happened in Vegas.
There's got to be some sort of website that's the reason I lost my job in Vegas, or.
It's Friday right now when we're recording, so you just know the place is gonna get crazy.
That's true.
Oh man,
it's about to get hectic up in there.
Well, in the airport, I'm gonna say the airport is a lively place at the moment. It's people going back and forth.
I love airports. I love just watching people.
Oh, that's totally what I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna try to stay on task and not get super distracted. But yeah, people walking by all over the place.
People just make it feel like their living room.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I'm trying to take up as little space as possible right now, in my little corner, and not be that person if I can help. Hey, question then, Michelle. Have you ever posted something to social media before and went, maybe that wasn't a good idea, and went back and deleted it?
Is this as an adult or?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, as a teenager, I can probably assume, yeah, maybe.
100% as a teenager, probably also as a young adult, which I technically guess I still am, but probably hopefully have learned my lesson of what not to post and to post.
You're not old, right? That's a thing. Yeah, I even us old people like myself have had some moments where I posted something and went, you know what? Actually, I'm going to take that back and take it down for several reasons, right?
Oh yeah, my favorite is looking back at the Facebook 7 years ago you posted this, and I'm wow, that was a terrible thing to post.
Do you go back and delete it at that moment?
I don't. Because I'm if somebody's going back 7 years to go and find something on me, they should probably get a better situation on their life. Personally,
it's not me. It's you. That's what's going on. No, I had a really interesting moment the other day that I thought was neat, and maybe something we could talk about when it pertains to middle school students and social media.
Let's do it. What happened?
I was scrolling through the Facebooks as I do sometimes.
The Book of Face.
And I saw the Book of Face, and I saw a parent, and they had a post about their student.
Who was the student of yours?
A student of mine, yeah. And I thought it was hilarious. And just thinking oh, that is middle school gold, right?
Yes.
Just thinking about how middle school students act and what they think and how it translates into everyday life and parenting. It's just this is awesome. And what I wanted to do was take just a screenshot of that and then post it to the Download Youth Ministry Facebook page because I was like, if anybody's going to get this, it's these people. Like they're going to enjoy like just the joy of middle school students being middle school students, right?
Absolutely.
And so I screenshot it and I was like, you know what? Okay, here's the deal. I want to make sure that like I'm respecting the parent, I'm respecting the student. And so I went in and I did the whole redacted thing, like where it said the student's name. I put a big bar and wrote student and even took out the picture of the parent and did a whole bunch of stuff. And I was like, okay, this is good.
Right.
And maybe in a moment of wisdom, that is like far between of what normally I do, I had this like, you know what? Actually, before I post this to a group of 16,000 people, let me ask mom and see if they are cool with this. Like, and said, and text them and said, hey, I really want to post this quote from your student to this group. Here is the actual picture. Like I showed them, this is the picture.
Smart.
Are you cool with it? And second, is your student cool with it? And like, just want to double check. And they said, okay, when they get home from school, I'll double check. Like, all right, fine. Right. And I thought like, hey man, this is good. Like before I post this really funny picture, I'm going to get like the permission of parent and like, hey, that's going to be cool. Student shut it down.
Really?
Yeah. Student said, please no. And to be honest,
please no.
Like I was surprised. Like it caught me off guard. I was like,
is it because it was embarrassing for them?
Well, maybe, but again, it's the redacted picture. Like their name was taken out. Like there's no way they would know except that they're a student of mine. So that's a thing. And I was like, well, what happened? Like the parent posts this to their Facebook page. But then I looked back and I saw she is a private account.
Oh.
So it's not anybody can see what they post on Facebook because they have their settings that way.
Because that's like just friends, right?
Yeah. And so
I wonder, did mom get permission from the student to post it first?
I'm sure she did, because knowing her and kind of how she's got this relationship with that student and how they're working it out. But like I was super surprised. Student said no. And so I then went and posted and was just like, oh, okay, Download Youth Ministry like page. Here's something that you need to do. If you're going to post something, sometimes it's good to ask permission of the parents and permission of the student. Is this cool with you if I post something like this?
Yeah. Especially because, in that situation, I'm guessing the parent was probably totally fine with it. But the student was like, no.
Like, please don't put that. And so, yeah, trying to think like, what are situations where it might be good for a middle school pastor to take a step back and think, should I post this or should I ask the student if it's cool to happen? Like, have you ever asked a student like, hey, are you cool with me if I post this to social media?
Gosh, I think often I feel like I get a lot of times like students asking me to put a photo of them on social media.
Oh, the opposite. They're like, hey, post that.
Yeah, because it's on like our middle school page, and so they know it's only going to be like a very small amount of people seeing it, or
sure.
But if I ever post it, they're like, make sure you tag me.
Oh, that's funny. Like, not only post it, but make sure you tag me so that I'm actually in that thing.
Yes. And I mean, most of our stuff probably isn't necessarily embarrassing. It's more like, hey, they won the game, or things like that.
Yeah, that's true. And so there's the idea of celebrating a win. Like, hey, they won the game, or hey, look at them doing this really cool dance. They mastered this TikTok dance, and so they want to do it. Versus, they said something silly, and I want to claim that to them, and I want to like identify that with them.
Right.
No, it just got me thinking. Like, we have a social media policy, and we kind of work within it. That like, hey, parents, you give us permission to post within our church. You give us permission to post pictures of your students, and like that's a thing. Like to say, hey, we want to make sure that we get permission, but then thinking about how personally we might, like, hey, if I'm going to post something, is it going to embarrass this kid, or is this going to be a win for this kid?
Yeah.
And even so, like I said, I redacted everything. You did not know who the student was going to be.
That's so interesting. They still didn't want it to be seen.
Still didn't want it out there. Yeah. And then what were you going to say just now?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's so important to like acknowledge the fact that even though they may be on social media, like especially with students, they're trying to keep up with their appearance of social media, right? So one thing, even if they can't see that it's them, they know it's them.
That's true.
So
yeah, that's true.
Thinking of who else knows that this is me, right?
And so, like, are they in charge of themselves and like they're taking charge of like their social media presence and trying to be able to curate some things? That's the thing. Yeah, I don't know, because there's so much quirkiness that middle schoolers have, right?
Oh, I love it.
Let's be honest. Sometimes they're just plain weird. And for me, I was thinking, all right, I get to celebrate this right now, but there's maybe a little bit of trying to make sure, is the student I'm going to post this thing about on social media comfortable in their own skin?
Yeah.
Or are they still working this out? So much so that they're going to say, hey, please wait before you do this. It was fascinating to me, like how this went down.
I think looking at some of my students in my ministry right now, even, I'm like, okay, I know the ones that are totally fine with me posting whatever.
Yep.
But then I'm like, okay, no, wait, there's a couple students that would probably be really offended if I either posted something about them or just didn't ask them first.
Yeah.
And thinking about that, I'm like, oh, I could have like really done some harm to them or at least like hurt them in a way that, we're not intentionally trying to. We just thought it was funny. Other people could, possibly get a laugh out of it. But for them, that's a big deal.
Well, sure. Oh, but think about it even in the reverse, how sometimes you come up to a student and you're like, dude, did you even think about like doing that, like what you were going to do before you did it? And they say, no, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Same for us. I know it's super easy for me to just like take a picture and go and like take a picture and post it. And like, that's just almost second nature.
Oh yeah.
But even trying to think before I post this, am I celebrating this kid?
Yeah.
Am I building them up with this, or am I trying to just get a laugh out of it?
Yeah. And is that almost really like a little bit of bullying to an extent?
Oh, it can totally easily go into bullying, like, and in a not good way. And a middle school pastor being in a position of power over a student,
yeah,
right? I mean, you see news articles all the time of teachers who, like, maybe they thought it was a joke or they were just messing around with the student, and you can tell it went too far too quick,
right?
And teacher got reprimanded or lost their job. Could the same happen with middle school pastors if we're not careful with how we are posting about our students?
I think it could be such a slippery slope, and like a quick one too. It starts with one photo, but then it goes to, a story of a game that probably isn't the best game to play, that maybe somebody gets hurt, somebody makes a joke that lands on the camera, a parent sees it, and it's trouble after that.
Yeah. And so even just trying to think through this over the last, it's been a couple weeks since this happened. And so just trying to think through like, okay, what do I need to do? Trying to think through, okay, is this post that I'm about to do, is it building up, right? Is it encouraging? And is it celebrating? And trying to think like, okay, are my posts about this doing that? Because, and then if it's asking, okay, this post is supposed to be funny, and like I want this to be funny, but I want to make sure the student's cool with it before I post it, right? Because funny, you can have fun at someone's expense. Yeah. And trying to think, okay, is what I'm about to post at the student's expense? Sometimes they're cool with it. Like for me, post something that makes me look silly at my expense. I'm fine with that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, go for it.
Yeah, but
show me what they say after so I can laugh as well.
Yeah. I want to laugh at my own silliness. But with the student trying to say, hey, do you want me to post this on social media? Are you okay with it? And then respecting them if they say no, right? And taking it back. Or even if they reach out to you afterwards and say, hey, can you delete that? Just honoring that request right out and delete it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a funny thing that I always tell my students this, and so this is one of the rules that I do have with them is if they take my phone and they decide to take a bunch of selfies of themselves, they automatically are giving me permission to post it on our middle school page.
Oh, wow.
And so they know, they're like, if I ever have photos of them like that they have taken of themselves on my phone, I have permission to use it.
No, that's big.
And so I always remind them of that too, because I have one student who does it at every single camp.
And so you got lots of pictures of them posted.
I have way too many of them on my phone. But I posted a couple of them, and I'll go back to her. I'm like, hey, are you still okay with this? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. That's why I took them. And I was like, great.
Like re-upping the agreement almost.
Yeah, just reminding her of like, hey, at any time you can tell me no. Like it's just a joke. It's fun. And so that's one of her points of always trying to steal my phone now so she can take selfies.
No, but that's a big deal. You've clearly communicated to the student, this is going to go up. And then you also circle back, which I think is huge, to come back and say, hey, this was the agreement. Are you still cool with me putting this on social media and not just assuming that it is? That's great.
Yeah. Because you can have fun with students still. Like, it's fun. They think it's funny, then it's great.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, hey, middle school pastor, you're out there. You're probably the one in charge of posting for social media for your group and for your personal page. Really, consider your students when you're posting. Are you celebrating them? Are you lifting them up? Or do you just have their permission when they are totally cool with being goofy? Like, thinking about that stuff, I think will go well with you as you move forward into social media land with your students.
Absolutely. Be careful. Be aware. Totally. Social media will be the death of us all.
When our grandchildren look over what we posted on social media, they're just going to be like, what in the world were you thinking?
My goal is to embarrass them as much as possible now.
Yeah.
For that day.
I love it. Well, hey, thanks for listening, everybody. I don't know. We've got some big news coming up.
It's pretty exciting.
I'm pumped. I don't know when this is going to drop. I don't know if it's already going to be the big news, but it's going to be good stuff. You should definitely stick around, and you should listen more often to the Middle School Ministry podcast. Middle School Ministry. Here we are.
Yeah. We're here.
Hey, Michelle, have a great one. We'll talk to you later, okay?
Bye, Ronald. Bye, guys.
Bye.